one way that stood out was at Bloodsport against Yuya Uemura, and it was a very much a striker versus grappler battle there. Like, what kind of influences do you have with the kicking style, and then putting that match together, being in Bloodsport where your kicking can stand out, going against a grappler like Uemura?
Yeah, so I started doing Taekwondo, which is a striking-based martial art, mostly kicks, when I was 11 years old, and I've since done boxing. While I've learned a lot of grappling through professional wrestling and dabble here and there, my striking is where I'm best. I mean, if you've seen any of my matches, it stands out quite a lot, and I think that the whole blood. Typically from those shoot style tournaments, and I've been part of Ambition in WC, which is also shoot style, and it's very grappling heavy. Of course, people are professional wrestlers, they're used to grappling, and to really get to bring that striking out and focus on that aspect really makes me stand out, because there's not a lot of people that can do it quite like I can. I remember one of my favorite shoot style matches I ever had was me versus Axel Didier Jr., who was known as Marcel Barthel for a while, who is now known as...
They just changed his name on Friday.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Ludwig.
Yeah, correct.
Is it Ludwig?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ludwig.
Jensen.
Yeah.
The non-WWE fan knows.
I know. I watched SmackDown this week. Yeah, I watched SmackDown this week. Yeah.
Regardless, so he was an amateur boxer as well. So we got to basically just open hand slap box for an entire fight. And that really stood out because, again, the rest of the Ambition tournament was just grappling. But that was one of the most fun matches I've ever had. And I was glad I was able to recreate that with Yuya, who is a Greco-Roman wrestler, and really try to keep him at bay with the kicks and then have him catch me with the grappling. I thought made for a really fun mix of styles.
Well, and, you do more than just kicks. I mean, you do so much different stuff, like, in your matches. You stylistically, you're kind of all over the place, which I think is really entertaining as a fan. How did you come up with your finishing moves, the Ultimate Weapon and the Flamingo Driver? Because I think they're both badass finishers, and I want to know why you have chosen those moves to use.
Okay, so that's a great question, and I'll be doing... This is something I cover extensively in seminars, but how to find a finisher. So the Shooting Star Knees started with me probably like 10 years ago, messing up a standing backflip 450. So I stand up, do a backflip, and land with my back on the guy, right? But I messed it up, and I landed with my knees on the guy. And then I asked him after the match, "Oh no, I messed that up and landed with my knees on you. How did that feel?" And he was like, "Oh, it was okay." I'm like, "Okay, maybe it was cool. Maybe I, keep doing that." And then I was using a Phoenix Splash as my first ever finisher, but doing it so often it started to be a lot of pressure on my wrist. So I started using a Shooting Star Press, which is like less impact on the rotation. But then after a while, like I didn't want to use the press so much. I wanted to use it from a different position. So I started doing a Shooting Star Press to the back of the person. And then I thought, why don't I mix the two a little bit, and went from the backflip knees to the Shooting Star to the back to doing the knees to the back. And then, that being the coolest thing I did had to be my finishing move. The Flamingo Driver came with me putting my fiance Veda Scott in just weird submissions to hang around, and I just sat her up on the top rope and locked her up. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was doing it at a Rev Pro show where Colt Cabana was just watching as we were messing around. And he was like, he said, "Oh, Flamingo Driver," because the legs are crossed in the back. So Colt Cabana named that move. But the real reason why anything of mine becomes a finisher is because it's cooler than anything else that I do. So it works its way up the chain and becomes a finisher. Which I think the mistake that a lot of pro wrestlers make is deciding that a move is going to be their finisher because of, a pun or whatever, or when really a move should be used as your finishing move. One, because it's the biggest thing to do, and because it